Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you and your family had a restful weekend together. I am back with another question of the week video. This week, answering a question from Christina in Austin, Texas, who is wondering how to know if her emergency fund is fully funded. Is it sufficient? Well, the quote-unquote simple answer is to say that it should be 3 to 6 months of your household expenses. But what does that mean? Well, it really should be your expenses, not your income. And the reason why we say that is because hopefully you are not spending more than what you're bringing in, and you're not spending every dollar that you bring in of your income. So if something were to happen, like you lose your job, you only need to make sure that you can cover your expenses. So you would not be saving, you would likely not be investing, you wouldn't be giving to your church. So you would think through those things that you would not need to do if you lost your job, and make sure you have 3 to 6 months of those expenses covered. Now, an emergency fund is not a bare minimum. How can I have the least amount to get by? You want to think about, when you have an emergency fund, you almost start feeling so comfortable having that emergency fund that you want an emergency fund for your emergency fund, meaning you don't want to touch it because it really does decrease stress in your life that maybe you didn't even know you had before you had an emergency fund. It takes an emergency and takes it down to just being able to focus on truly the emergency, not the emergency and the money problem. So you want to make sure that it is really sufficient and enough that you don't have to worry about if an emergency happens, you know it's covered financially, and then you can put your focus on handling the medical emergency or the car emergency or whatever it is that happens. Now, also another thing to think about is deciding if you and your spouse, what your jobs look like. So if one of you stay at home with the kids, then I think your emergency fund should be a little bit more because you're depending on one income. Or if one of you have income that fluctuates, maybe you're on commission, your emergency fund should probably be more because what if there's some months that commission check is lower? So thinking through your situation is also going to help you determine what is the right amount for you. But starting at that 3 to 6 month baseline, thinking through what your expenses are, how your job can impact it, those sorts of things will help you to determine what amount you need. Now, I always like to remind you that if you do use your emergency fund, make sure you repay it. So once you've decided what is that amount that you want to have, you should really try to keep that amount in there all the time. So if you use it, just work on repaying it as quickly as possible. And it's something that you should reevaluate, because if you set your emergency fund today and you just set it and forget it, but your expenses increase or your income increases and therefore your lifestyle increases, then your emergency fund maybe needs to be larger, or maybe your job changes. You might want to beef up your emergency fund depending on how your life changes. So I think it's a good idea to look at it at least annually. Starting in January, we're approaching the first of the year, and so it's a good idea to kind of reevaluate your finances and look at all areas of it, but look at your emergency fund and make sure that it's still a sufficient amount for you. Now, if you have any questions specific to saving the emergency fund and how to get it built up to the amount that you need, or you're still not really sure what amount is right for you, our financial coach would be very helpful to you in that. So if you want to schedule a meeting with her, you can do that using the link to her calendar below. And if you're looking for help as far as investing and saving for retirement, our financial advisors would love to help you, and you can schedule a meeting with them using their calendar link below. So if this video was helpful, I hope that you will share it. I hope that you will like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.